Oh hey, Jeremy here from Long Speed Marine. Gonna be working on the C50 for a bit, so tag along and see what I'm doing. Well, get this lined up. Okay, so I got the C50 back in the shop, and if you're tagging along with some of my other videos there, I was working on my wife's Skylark, and it snowballed a little bit. The wiring is pretty messed up. So I don't, it's kind of a bummer with that car. It sort of happened with her last car, the Fairlane, as well. It just seemed like one thing after another, it snowballed. Anyways, I am going to stay on that car, but later. I need to refocus my energy a little bit on something that's not going to totally frustrate me, because I'm telling you, that thing is just driving me nuts. So we got the C50 back in because I'm waiting on some parts for the Mercury, which is just behind the camera there. And so before I do some more stuff on the Mercury, I'm going to get on the C50 because I'm waiting for parts. But I'll tell you one thing about the Merc. It will be going back together. It's going to be the main project that I will be working on once I get some more parts for it. I've pretty well got everything I need to complete the chassis, to complete the drivetrain, other than a computer. So anyways, tag along with that build. It's going to be a pretty cool car when it's done. But for now, we're going to just get this C50 sort of sitting on the frame a little bit better. Off camera, I did move it just a little bit to straighten it up, and I'll show you what I'm doing to figure out where I want it. And I've got it sitting on the frame, I think, just about where I want it, because if I try to center this wheel, I think I'm going to end up being too far forward. Now, maybe I will center it more because it does look kind of goofy. It's kind of sitting off. But I'll bring you guys in and just show you what I'm trying to do here on this truck. So you can see it's not quite obviously centered in the wheel well. It is. The cab is back a little bit farther. Now, like I say, I may try and center that up a bit. I think if you look at some of the other trucks that were done like this, Finnegan Speed Marine, their ramp truck that they had like this, I think sat the same way. And it's pretty hard to get. I guess it's not hard. I can do whatever I want. The problem is, as I start to come forward more, I'm into the kick up on the frame there a little bit more, which isn't that big of a deal. I am sitting a bit too low. I know low is good, but this is really low because once I get a motor and stuff in there, that's going to be quite low. So I do need to lift that up a bit, and obviously I'm making my own cab mount so I can do whatever I want. So I am going to try and push this forward a little bit more. And I'm quite shocked actually how different this is and sits on the cab, that nose being so short compared to a regular C10. These are the body mounts for a regular, 67 to 72 C10. That's the location for it. So you can see I'm right in front of those now as it is, and I probably need to go another, 4 or 5 inches ahead. So I was just working on that, sort of straightening this up, and all I'm basically doing is lining this up with the cab. And I haven't measured yet, but I will measure this gap between there and then on the other side. And then I'll know basically that's how I'm going to measure up whether I'm sitting straight or not. Because if it's straight to those cab mounts, I'm straight to the body, then hey, I'm straight. So that's what we're going to try and do now. And hopefully I can use my hoist to do that and lift the cab up. I don't know how I'm going to get it forward though, because I'm into my workbench. So that means that the frame can't come back farther. I got to get the cab forward more. So that's going to be a bit tricky, but let's see how we go. It's literally all I've got. That's actually pretty close. Now the back of this obviously kicks out farther, But if we look at the center of that wheel well, just eyeball it, you know, in here, that's, that may be it, right? Because if we look center of the tire, and I'm right there. So this side looks relatively there. It's the other side that's a bit weird. Maybe I should look at some pictures of some of these other trucks that are done and see where they sit. Stay tuned. All right, so I looked at a bunch of pictures there, and I think it's running a small tire like this, I think it's either or. Either I'm too close to the front of the wheel well or I'm too close to the back of the wheel well. I mean, you can try and square it up, but let me show you again why I don't think I can. So obviously I'm running a very, a small tire on here. It looks even smaller on camera than what it actually appears in real life, but this is actually a 16.5, and I do plan on running a larger rim and tire. I'm hoping to get like 19.5s or something like that. Try and find some somewhere or something, I don't know. Or even maybe 10 bolt. But if you look at that, I'm pretty well, I could go back a little bit more, but I think it's one of those you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. But I am going to try and get this cab forward more, so maybe what I'll do is I'll set it down and shift everything forward and then try to do it again. All right, so let's get you guys over here for this perspective. So what I'm going to try and do is set the cab down again. And see if I can, yeah, because it's back. So maybe if I roll it forward a bit, then I can lift it up and pull it back a bit again. I only need a little bit more. Where's my other wood? Oh, it's over there. Huh. It actually moved back. Shoot. All right, let's try rolling this forward a bit. Just going to put me in a funky spot on the left. Oh, I got blocked from the tire. I hear crunching. I don't like crunching. Oh, now I got to block the other way. Goof. Okay. Can we go back? I may have to go up higher. Because I'm on that hump of the frame. Yeah. Okay. Now I hear crunching, but all right. So do we like that a bit better? Obviously it's sitting up really high, but I think that's a bit better. Now for the camera there's a bit of a shadow, but that's pretty well centered there. So somehow what I need to do now is make a reference on the frame here. Oh, well, that's an easy reference. Right in front of that rivet. So if I have the back edge of the cab in line with the front of that rivet on both sides, then I should be good. And then all I have to do is measure off the frame. Cool. So what I had originally intended on doing is using this 4x4 channel and just setting it across, making a simple cross member, and just welding this this to the frame, and then my body mount would just sit on top of here, and you could get in the side to get the bolt in, because I would just have it right in the side. The bolt, well, I guess it comes over further, over here for that one. you got two different cab mounts on the back of these. So whether it was the C50, it used the inner ones, and the truck chassis ones are actually these outer ones. So what I could do is just cut this down the same width as these outer body mounts and just have that sit on there. That'd be a good, solid, strong cab mount. I mean, I could also just cut this off. Why bother use all this whole thing? I don't need anything in the middle. That'll actually get in the way, maybe, the drive shaft. So maybe what I'll do is I'll cut this off the same width from here to here and weld around the frame, and then that'll be our mount. I can blow a hole in there for the cab mount. I think that's a plan. Okay, so after a lot of cutting, grinding, and drilling and whatnot, there's my, get stuck in there, my cab mounts. So I think I had said before that this is 4x4 tube. This is actually 3x3. So I've got it drilled out so the body mounts fit in there nice. Now I've just got to figure out, so basically all I did was cut it off, measure how far out that one is, did the exact same thing, measured, cut it off, and there we are. Cut it off at an angle so I can get the bolt either up in from the bottom or ratchet up in from the bottom. I don't know. So this one here, there was a bolt up or going from the top down. Anyways, pulled that out, and it ended up wrecking the whole thing, so I had to cut that out. So now it's sitting with the bolt down from the top. That one's got the nut in it, so I can put a bolt from the bottom. So we're going to try doing that now, and my thought was bolt these to the cab, set the cab down, then tack them in place. Maybe clamp them and tack them in place where they seem to want to sit once the cab is down. So that's what I'm going to try and do now. I am going to get some washers and nuts for that one and a bolt for that side, and get this thing sitting down. All right, so I've got my mounts loosely bolted up in place, and obviously this is all just somewhat temporary, but so now I'm hoping when I lower this thing down that I'm not going to end up the cab sliding back, because it's going to hit that front frame section that comes down, and hopefully it'll stay where it is. What I may do, actually, yeah, what I'm going to do is try and get some jack stands, because right now the cab is tilted forward, so I want it more level as it comes down. So maybe what I'll do is I'll get some jack stands and see how that works. Now let's see what that does. So I got some 6x6s in there. See what happens. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Coming down. Perfect. All right. Now it is high in the front, but that's okay. Yes. All right, so this is going to work out really well. And that should be good for, well, I'm not all the way down, I guess. Okay, so that's pretty good. I think that'll be good for ride height. Let's get a tape measure. Now it will come down a little bit more. Oh yeah, tons. Almost 8.5 inches. If it comes down another inch to 6 inches, that, I mean 6 inches is pretty low, but it shouldn't drop down that far. So if it comes down to 7, that'll be fine. I mean, I can always put, if I get the motor and stuff on there, and once I get the flatbed on the back, because like I said, this is hopefully going to be a ramp truck. If it drops down much more, I mean, I can always put spacers in the body mounts. So that is amazing. Over there, so the cab needs to come This way, just a smidgen. So I'm about 5.5 inches. The problem, that hole in that body mount is not centered. So someone put a plate over this body mount, all of them, because the holes are a bit rotted out. So someone tacked, it's quite common, just to tack a piece over it. So that's not centered. So I'm going to measure off of, there's that rivet. So I've got 2 inches from the center of that back one. And I've got to go forward a bit on this one. That is if that rivet is centered. So I'm about 5 and, I don't know, 7/16 or something like that. Oh, yeah, so that needs to go forward. Oh, I definitely moved it. Ah, but now I'm going to be, yeah, that's where it needs to be. Okay. So maybe what I'll do, lift the cab back off, put those in the right spot, tack them in place, and then I can set the body down and wiggle the body. Maybe that's what I'll do. Now that I know where they need to be, I can square them up to the frame. And we should be good. Okay. Now I will clamp those down. Oh yeah. When you put it to grind mode, make sure you put it back. Now I can't see a thing. Is it hot up there? No. I don't want to burn the bushing. Burn my body mount. Put that in there. Oops. Now I just realized why it wasn't welding right. It's small wire. Anyways, that'll do just for those tack welds. That's why it was being a bit funky. So, let's get this set back down. could come over a lot. A lot. Yep. Almost. I don't know if that did anything. No. No. What made it worse? Worser. Okay, well, I'll lift it back up and move the cab. Or move the frame. Oh, I gotta pull that out. Out of there. I seem to have moved everything. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now the problem is the hoist doesn't grab. I'll use my floor jack. there we go. Okay, that one's in. That one's inner. Inner. Now that one's in. Now I can mess with that side. All right, well, there it is, sitting down on the back mounts. Now the front ones are just blocks, so that'll be the next episode, is doing the front ones. Very similar to the back, obviously just measured up a little bit more. I'm gonna take that channel and mount it in there. Now the front mounts are a little bit taller, so I will use those taller mounts up front and space the mounts accordingly. Maybe sitting a little bit high in the front now, but when I put the motor in it, it'll drop back down a bit. The running board is 8.5 in the back, 8.5 in the front, so it's sitting level at the moment, so that'll be good. And this should be a pretty good ride height just about for the truck. Like I said, once the motor gets in it, it sits down a little bit more. This should be a really good ride height for the truck, and I'm really happy about that. So stay tuned for the next episode where I start working on that. Hey, make sure you hit that subscribe button, smash the like, add some comments. Tell me what I did was totally crazy and how you would do it. Hey, I love hearing from your comments. A couple comments on one of the last videos actually helped me out with an issue. So thanks very much, and tag along for the rest of my builds. Man, this is a sweet truck.